You open the document, the cursor is blinking, you know what the first sentence should say. And somehow, opening another tab feels easier than typing it. Then 10 minutes later, you finally begin, and that first sentence takes about 40 seconds. 40 seconds, you just spent 10 minutes avoiding 40 seconds. So what were you actually avoiding? Not the work, the doorway in front of the work. Think about the same person on a different day. This time, the task is a presentation. Work on the presentation sounds like one action, but do you research first, write the opening, pick the examples, or make the slides? The task is right there, the first move is not. A 2022 study put a number on what happened next. Researchers checked in with 88 students 6 times a day during a week of exam season. 30% of the study sessions those students planned did not happen when they planned them. The sessions most likely to get skipped were the ones where the student was less sure than usual how to proceed. But there is a second cost behind the same doorway, and most people never name it. Now go back to that blinking cursor. You knew exactly what the first sentence should say, the first move was clear, and you still opened another tab. Piers Steele pulled together 691 correlations from decades of procrastination research. Among the strongest and most consistent predictors was something surprisingly simple: how unpleasant a task feels. That does not only mean boring. A task can feel frustrating, difficult, uncertain, or emotionally uncomfortable before you touch it. So the doorway can carry two separate costs. The next action is unclear, and the task feels unpleasant. Now look at what avoidance gives you. You check a message, you refill your water, you organize a folder. For a moment, the uncomfortable task stops asking anything from you. That small drop in discomfort is part of the reward. Researchers often describe this pattern as short-term mood repair. Avoidance pays immediately in relief. The bill arrives later. You feel better now, future you inherits the task. That is why you can genuinely want the project finished and still avoid starting it. Wanting the outcome and wanting the next 30 seconds of the process are not the same thing. So stop asking, why am I so unmotivated? Ask this instead. What exactly feels bad about the next 30 seconds? If the answer is, I do not know where to begin, you have an ambiguity problem. If the answer is, I know what to do but I do not want to feel the frustration of doing it, task aversiveness may be more relevant. Both answers put you at the same doorway, they just ask for different keys. That distinction changes what you try next. For ambiguity, make the first action visible and attach it to a cue. Not work on the report. Try, after I put my coffee down at my desk, I will open the report and write one rough sentence. This is called an implementation intention. It connects a specific situation with a specific response. Peter Gallwitzer and Pascal Sheeran pooled 94 independent tests of this strategy. The overall effect on goal attainment was medium to large. It also held specifically for the problem we are talking about, failing to get started. Notice what that removes from the doorway. You no longer have to decide when to begin. You no longer have to decide what begin means. The cue arrives and the first action is already chosen. But what if the action is clear and still feels unpleasant? Then use the start as a measurement. Choose a very short commitment such as 2 minutes and check the resistance again when the time is up. You are not claiming that 2 minutes will make the task easy. You are testing whether the resistance belongs mainly to the doorway or continues inside the task. Either way, you have made the commitment smaller even if the task itself is not. And if you are exhausted, missing information, or lacking the skills or time the task requires, solve that obstacle first. A smaller first step cannot replace sleep, instructions, training, or support. Now, I am not going to tell you that starting is always the hardest part. Some work gets harder later, some work is unpleasant the whole way through. Beginning does not magically solve a task you do not know how to do. What the evidence supports is narrower. The doorway can carry costs that are separate from the rest of the task. Those costs can include anticipated discomfort and uncertainty about the first action. And you can measure that doorway tonight. Pick one task you have been avoiding, write down the smallest visible action that would count as starting, attach it to one cue that will actually happen today. When I finish dinner, I will open the document and write 3 bullet points. Then give the task 2 minutes and watch what happens. You are not promising to finish, you are removing the negotiation at the doorway. If the resistance drops, the doorway was carrying part of the cost. If it does not, you just learned that the barrier is deeper than starting. Now you can stop using the same fix on every kind of delay. Next, we will look at what happens after you start and why switching tasks can leave part of your attention stuck on the last one. If you want psychology you can test on yourself the same day you hear it, subscribe.